This is a pretty cool engine I got. It's been for sale for a little bit here, but I didn't make a video yet because I was waiting on my buddy to try and get the immobilizer removed out of this computer, and he hasn't had time to do it yet. So I'll make a video of it running for the couple seconds that it lets you do it with the immobilizer active. This is the wiring harness that I built. It's all kind of simplified and labeled so that it's easy for you to understand. That's the fuel pump relay. This is the main switch that turns on the ignition power. It's wired up for the cluster. There's a data port here for your OBD and BAGCOM, whatever you want. I tried programming a new key with my eBay VAG taco, but it wouldn't work. It works on some stuff, but not this for some reason. But yeah, the throttle pedal is hooked up. You can hear that working. So everything's been sorted out. I also left a nice long pigtail for the reverse sensor and the starter wire as well. So easy for you to swap. Quick compression test. You can hear it's nice and even. You know, I'll do a compression test on it, but when I hear them sound like that, generally they're okay. And this car was really super clean inside. It has a bunch of nice parts put onto it. The engine was raised. It had coilovers. Yeah, urethane bushings. It has an aluminum crack pipe, the coolant crossover pipe, aka the crack pipe. Yeah, that's a cool upgrade, and you can see, you know, obvious signs that it's just had its timing chains done. I'll show you in the oil cap. I kind of want to pull the valve cover off just to take a real good look, but you can see how clean this engine is, and the new chains. Pretty easy. Looks really nice in there. I think the oil pan was cracked from the crash, so yeah, you'll see some of my welding on there. And it's got new oil in it. But it has the same filter. And the transmission got a little bit damaged. There's a pretty good crack up the top there. It goes from where the clutch line goes in through that hole, and it goes all the way up to the top. But there's bolts on either side of it, so I'm not too worried about it. That was probably from when this whole thing got twisted and it broke the mount that bolts onto the transmission on the top, but it didn't break the transmission itself. All these bosses and everything are fine up here. Where the dog bone bolts on the bottom, there's the typical damage that you see with all these 6 speeds in the Mark IVs. Somebody's drilled and tapped those holes, and then it ripped it out again during the crash. So what I've done to fix that is, if you're using this in a Mark IV, is make a steel plate that bolts onto the case bolts as many different places as you can, I guess, on the bottom, and then just make your dog bone mount and bolt to that. But if you're putting this into a Mark II or a Mark III, you have to figure out a mount on the back here anyway that bolts on to here and goes somewhere about there, and that's totally different. And then you're going to be using these holes here on the back for the Mark III, Mark II style mounts, which is always fun. I've done a bunch of these swaps. They're freaking awesome. This engine hauls ass when it's in a little car like that. And then when you add boost, they're even more fun. So let me get the camera set up here, and I'll show you how this thing sounds for a couple seconds when it runs. Okay. yeah, you know, pretty happy with this engine. You don't come across these very often anymore. I think this is the first one I've seen in 3 years. There was one at the very beginning I started dealing with this guy. And I didn't get to it in time and it went in the pile and I was really sad. It was a 12 valve Mark IV. Yeah, but I got to this one just in time. Car hit a pole on the side, smush like right back here, like that. And it took some of the hoses and stuff on the back here that broke a hole in the intake and I glued shut. You know, couple little things, but overall this will be great for somebody's project. Love the sound of them too. And yeah, it has, I think, 280k, 283. That's getting up there, but you know, the timing chain's done and it doesn't burn oil and smoke. That's the most important thing. I gave up on a couple of my daily driver vr6s because they were burning oil really bad, and that's just because of the way they're designed. Well, it's a V engine, the cylinders kind of wear egg-shaped, and that's just the way they go. But this one, it's good. This one's really good.